Old, thank you for coming and still like being open and willing to learn everything and just getting a refresher of like how USG works, what we do, why we're in USG. Yeah, so we'll get right to it. Is that good? Okay, cool. And if at any point you can't hear me or anything, just let me know and feel free to jump in whenever. Wait, where are my notes? My presenter notes? Okay, give me 1 minute, sorry. They usually pop up here, but I don't know why. Okay, so what is USG? So as a member of the undergraduate student government, you're expected to emulate the following mission. And please read this mission, but I'll go over the highlights and what this actually means. So you as a representative literally serve as you represent the student body. Each of you, approximately doing the math, serve as one voice per 550 students. And while that kind of seems a little overwhelming and can at times seem a little overwhelming, 550 students is probably as many students as you guys encounter per semester in your classes, right? It's maybe as many students as a professor is teaching each semester. And if you actually take the time, it's pretty easy to gauge the needs of each one of these students. And sometimes a lot of you guys joined USG to focus on a specific thing, serve a specific demographic of students that we serve here at UIC. And so I think Anshu and I, with this, we kind of wanted you guys to understand that like your role is really meaningful. And while Anshu is the president of USG, like he serves as the face of student government, and you guys serve as the face and representatives of the student body. Yeah. So how does USG work? We're directly affiliated with the Office of the Dean of Students. As many of you guys might have learned when we were speaking to you at Involvement Fair, we are different from a normal student organization. We're different from like BSU, we're different from any fraternity, we're different from any like, what's it called? Like a pre-track, those clubs. Sorry if I'm like totally screwing that up, but I think you guys like know what I'm trying to convey. We're not like any normal student organization, and oftentimes student organizations will actually come to us to seek support or help in terms of funding or initiatives that they're doing. And we're broken up into the executive and the legislative branches. Under the legislative branches, you have the Speaker of the House and representatives. So I'm the Speaker of the House. You guys will often come to me seeking support or questions you have. I kind of serve as like the liaison from you guys to the executive branches. Of course, you're welcome to ask them questions directly. This isn't, I'm not saying you can only speak to me if you wanted to speak to them. Anshu will gladly speak to any of you guys if you wanted to, or if you had any concerns or anything, but that's our official like method of communication, method of working through USG organization. I was your point of contact through applications, and I will pretty much be your point of contact in terms of communication through meetings and stuff like that. And yeah, so representatives are under the legislative branch. Our executive branch has the president, vice president, treasurer, and the executive cabinet. And in the executive cabinet, you have the chief of staff and then all the committee chairs. So you guys will also be communicating closely with your committee chairs if you haven't already. You'll be working with them for initiatives. Mostly, you are free to do things on your own, but most of the time you'll be working with your committee chairs and sometimes even committee chairs from different committees. But yes, are there any questions so far? I know I'm going pretty quickly. All right, Anshu, anything you'd like to add? Okay, cool. So before we move forward, I just kind of want to set out like the member expectations. I hate that I can't see you guys. Okay, so as a lot of you guys are like student athletes or like are affiliated with other fraternities or sororities or just in general other offices with UIC. And we know that like as representatives of other organizations and stuff, you've probably already understood that like you serve in your classes and stuff, you serve as a representative of those student organizations. It's reflected in your actions, it's reflected in your coursework, it's reflected in the relationships that you build with professors and things like that. And the same applies to USG, if not even more, right? So in everything that I'm doing in my classes and everything, I always have to remember that I am serving as a representative of USG. Same thing for Anshu, and everything that he's doing, he is the president of the student body. And we hope that you guys take this role with as much responsibility as like all the other members do. And so with that, not just in USG meetings or in USG related matters, again, in all aspects of UIC, we hope that you are always respectful and compassionate and you're attentive in all the meetings that we're having and everything, not just the official meetings, but one-on-one meetings. You maintain a professional presentation. I mentioned a while ago that our dress code is business casual. While typically in corporate environments, business casual does mean no jeans. We're allowing jeans as long as they don't have rips. And then when having genuine and supportive intent when questioning, proposing, or providing feedback. So essentially that means we hope that when you are asking questions, you're saying something because you genuinely want to, you have a genuine question, you're saying something because you're interested in it and not out of spite of anyone, not because you're holding a grudge, not because you want to seem better than, because that's not great for you. And that's also detrimental to like the USG environment overall. And then lastly, please be responsive in terms of your emails and group me and just communication overall. Super important, not just so you're up to date, but we are aware of like attendance. We've sent out multiple Google Forms already for like attendance and food requirements and virtual stuff. So as things pick up throughout the year and midterms and finals and everything, please continue to be as responsive as you have been. Check your emails daily. Make sure your group me notifications are on, things like that. So I'm going to turn it over to other members of the e-board, and we'll start with our executive team. Yeah, as your turn comes up, e-board, please feel free to come up and present. So yeah.
Yeah, and thank you, Kayla, for doing that and setting up this presentation. And so as the president of student government, it really is my responsibility to represent, advocate, and speak on behalf of the USG administrative leadership. So a lot of your concerns that you bring up are brought up by students that you meet in your classes and in your communities. And it's imperative that I bring your concerns to the university leadership while I'm meeting with them. And this consists of, the chancellor, the provost, the deans of all the colleges, various directors and different, administrative positions. It's also, my responsibility to relay what I've learned from the UIC leadership back to you guys. And so relaying, what you guys are telling me and what you guys have noticed on campus to UIC leadership, and then relaying what, their responses are and helping you guys inform your decisions on how to move forward to better, advocate for students and really work hard on those initiatives and understanding what those roadblocks are. And, as president, is my responsibility to act as the chief executive officer of student government. So making sure that, working with the rest of the executive board to ensure that, we are being able to get work done. Obviously, in other student governments, things can fall down when there's not proper goals and, certain expectations aren't met. And so it's my responsibility to make sure that, the club is functioning and working with the rest of the executive board on their initiatives and helping, uplift all of your guys' voices, as you guys are leaders in your own right. And the initiatives that you guys want to work on are what are important for USG. And then our VP Arthur will go next.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Kayla, thank you for setting up the PowerPoint. And thank you, everyone here, for attending this orientation. And I'm not sure how many people are online. Either way, thank you for attending online.
Can you guys hear him?
Can you guys hear me? A little bit?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, thank you guys for coming overall. But yes, I'm Arthur. I'm the vice president here, and my duty here is to act as the support for Anshu, our president here. And like Anshu said, many of his roles and responsibilities very much coincide with mine. Speaking with administrators and setting the agenda, and collaborating with the chief of staff, and together we kind of really work to set that agenda. And of course, to maintain relations with the student trustee. So yeah, assisting to being an advocate of the student body, establishing priorities and goals of the academic year, working in tandem with the executive cabinet, helping them with any initiatives that they could be working on, and empowering them in that regard, and of course, fostering relations with student organizations here on campus. And also, like Kayla here, her job is to empower you as reps. Feel free to come to me if you have any questions as well about any sort of initiatives you have, or anything about USG. I'm very much here to help empower you guys as individuals. But besides that, that's really all I have to say, and I look forward to seeing what everybody here has to say and work on. So yeah, thank you.
All right, can you guys hear me okay? On Zoom?
Yes.
All right, so everybody, as you probably saw at the first meeting, I'm the Chief of Staff, John Donners, and the Chief of Staff's main role is of the enforcement of the executive team. And so those responsibilities are maintaining and managing the cabinet, enacting and facilitating the agenda, and efficiently running the USG alongside the president and vice president. And I work a lot with the chair people and, help to delegate the agenda down to them and, kind of help with the formation of things. And then I also collaborate a lot, with the executive team, with the student trustee, and we all kind of work together to try and bring the agenda across campus. And I can also work, with you guys well as a resource. So if you need anything, please let me know. And I'm in the office pretty often. So, and then on the next slide, me, Anshu, and Arthur put together a org chart. And so it's kind of small, but hopefully that's clear to you guys. And something that with these colors over here, we tried to illustrate well was the fact that, in the US government, like obviously typically a committee is not chaired by somebody who's in the cabinet, but, we wanted to make it clear that you guys are part of the House of Representatives, but you are still under your chairperson. And so hopefully that kind of clears that up and makes that a little bit easier to understand for you guys. So, and if you guys have any questions about that, you can answer questions afterwards. So, all right.
Like a big family tree. Okay. Okay, Mohammed, I think you're on Zoom, but go ahead and present. Now we're gonna do the committee chairs.
Sure. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Hello, everybody.
Okay.
I'm Mohammed. I'm the treasurer this year. It's really good. It was really nice meeting all of you in the previous meetings. So with the treasury committee, we really have three main objectives. One, we distribute the USG budget. Secondly, we work with USG members and student organizations to provide funding for events. And lastly, we stay in close contact with the regulating dean of students office, aka the DOS office, to ensure funding requests are eligible and processed. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
So in order to make sure that funds are actually processed, we fill out what is called an RFF. It is a request for fund form. We send it to the DOS, and they are the ones who actually purchase materials for us. In order to purchase certain materials such as supply orders to for leadership awards or even furnitures, there are certain timelines that we must obey. The timelines are here and you can see them. So for representatives, if you have any solutions that require, say, a large purchase, it's important to get that ahead of time to make sure all the requests are fulfilled and we don't fall behind. Next slide, please. So finally, funding guidelines. One of the biggest parts about funding in general is to remind ourselves where it comes from. It comes from the undergraduate student body. So in that sense, it is our responsibility to ensure that the initiatives we help fund are efficient in serving their interests and needs. In addition, we are regulated by the DOS office and we must follow certain guidelines. Two important ones are that USG may not transfer funds to any students in particular. With respect to student organizations, it is important that we purchase supplies and materials for them and distribute accordingly. And another funding guidelines that we have to keep in mind is that we may only purchase from approved vendors such as Amazon or Staples. Any other vendors outside this list will require pre-authorization from the DOS office, which of course require 4 weeks minimum notice. So please keep that in mind for your initiatives. So continuing on the funding guidelines, these are our approved vendors list. They're plentiful. You know, I think we can get most of our work done within these vendors, but if for whatever reason we have a food item or a purchase that is outside of this, please do let me know in advance so we can get that approved. So that's just easier for DOS for them to know where to send the money to because they use their accounts. We don't have any of our accounts that we're allowed to use currently. So that's something really good to know. And yeah, I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Danny, do you want to come up?
Okay, hello everyone. Again, thank you for coming, and Kayla, thank you for planning this. I'm the Diversity and Inclusion Committee Chair, and I wanted to talk more about like the Diversity and Inclusion Committee itself. So we have the main priorities and goals as to make UIC a safe space for all individuals, to celebrate our different identities and backgrounds, and to amplify the voices of minority and undocumented students on campus, as well as all students with disabilities. And then how do we do this is that we work with cultural centers and student organizations to enhance multicultural inclusion, build coalitions of student groups that support each other, advocate for equal treatment for groups identified under the Equal Opportunity Statement, participate in developing university policies that support the equal treatment of all students on campus, and recommend ways in which the campus climate can grow to be more supportive of diversity. And this is not the only list of things that we're able to do. I really want this committee to be focused on every single representative leading their own initiatives. And I just want to be your support system. I want our committee and our board to be just a support system for you. But as Kayla said, you are leaders yourselves. So you are able to lead things yourself. And we are there for all your support and everything that you're going to need. And yes, that's diversity and inclusion. Thank you.
All right.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael Fernandez and I'm the Chair of Legislative Affairs Committee.
No one's here.
Oh, for sure.
Just go, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm Michael Fernandez and I'm the Chair of the Legislative Affairs Committee. And basically we're responsible for the creation of USC legislation and promoting and encouraging civic engagement on campus. So one of our main responsibilities this year is to help student organizations form policy for UIC. So that means like creating coalition between groups of individuals who want to accomplish goals that align with USG and the student body as a whole. And then we examine campus policy as well as state policy. So that'd be like the Illinois General Assembly, and then looking at like Senate packets and what sort of the administration at UIC is considering passing. Another big thing that we do is lobby days. So that's when we go to Springfield, ideally, like we were online because of the pandemic, but normally we'd go down to Springfield and try to get a hold of whichever legislators will listen to us and talk about what we want to accomplish at our campus, and then civic engagement in general. So anything that involves civic engagement, we can get involved in when needed. And then also staying in touch with the other civic engagement, like SLCE, SAC, and then CORE, which are just meetings with all the faculty at UIC who are involved in creating and promoting civic engagement on campus.
I don't know if Matthew's here yet. Matthew? I think we'll come back to Matthew if he's here. Okay, Abby.
Okay, hello everyone. My name's Abby Patinio, and this is Darian Mack, the graphic designer, also part of the public affairs leadership team. And our web administrator is Matt Salraj. Oh,
Okay, just go closer.
closer, sorry.
Okay.
Great, I'm Abby. This is Darian, the graphic designer, and we're missing Matt, who is the web administrator. So the goals of this committee are to publicize USG. This includes our accomplishments, events we're hosting, collaborations with other student orgs and administration, as well as updating and informing the public on our meetings through the YouTube, social medias, and website. In addition to that, we would publish statements about current events or happenings on campus or world events that we think we should make a statement about. In addition to that, working with the graphic designer on creating engaging graphics and posts to represent our mission and reach the public, to tell them about our accomplishments, events, collaborations that I stated before.
Okay.
I'm here to make cool graphics.
Okay. Okay. Campus life. There you
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Felix. I'm the chairman of Campus Life. Thanks for all coming out. So the goals of Campus Life Committee is basically to improve day-to-day lives here for UIC students, addressing students' concerns, and then listening, supporting, and advocating for students across campus. So not only just the East Campus, there are 2 other campuses. There is a South, and then there is a West Campus. And then some of our responsibilities are working with other administrations. So campus housing, the commuter center, counseling center, cultural centers, Greek life, etc. We plan events, and then we also have a strong understanding of students' needs and concerns. So basically anything underneath the sun here on campus, we kind of make sure it's better for everyone, no matter where they come from. So yeah, thank you.
Does this move the computer?
Is that better?
Wait, I think that plugged in.
And then if you want, you can move it down.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
okay, cool.
Thank you. Okay. What's next? Okay. I need to pull up the Constitution. Okay. So Danya emailed you guys the Constitution and bylaws, so feel free to go over this as I just kind of go through it. You can just Google UIC USG.
Just on regular. video?
Yeah, because I
Or-
had the documents here, but they're
Right here, right?
and then
Do you have
you could just.
Constitution bylaw. Constitution.
So this isn't the highlighted version, but it's at least the updated version. Okay, this isn't the updated version, but I'm not gonna go, we didn't update like some of the things that like this won't mess you guys up, don't worry. So,
We'll send you the updated one.
yes,
So
this should be
that's the
good.
Constitution.
Okay, cool, thanks. So this is a constitution. I'm not gonna like go through it and read it or anything. But it is so helpful in terms of understanding USG more, why we do certain things the way that we do, why we have to do certain things the way that we do, And also, I will go over this little section here, our purpose. And it's in our mission statement too, like on the website and everything. But the purpose of USG shall be governance, advocacy, and service. And as we saw in like the first slide, where it's like how your role here as a representative. I'll just go through a couple. So governance, to actively participate in top priority tasks directed by the administration that affects the student body. I feel like that's pretty straightforward, but if you guys have any questions, just raise your hand. And then I'm trying to see like what's super important. I'll just do the first points of everything. And advocacy to represent the undergraduate student body at UIC, and here to promote positive multicultural and social growth on campus. And again, to address, support, and resolve issues that may adversely affect members of the student body by enhancing policies and procedures. So yeah, like even as I'm trying to take things out, a lot of the stuff is really important in understanding like how USG works, and again, like why you're here and how to kind of choose initiatives, what to do in terms of like how to support the student body and stuff. And then lastly, we have service, to fortify relationships with all organizations at the university and assist in their goals as bodies, and to assist in the organization and coordination of the independent efforts of students and student organizations, providing assistance and support while remaining impartial, and to serve as a liaison between students and administration by effectively taking actions to further empower the voices of the undergraduate student government at UIC. Yeah, so just use this as a reference. Make sure you save it on your computer so you have it. You don't have to keep searching for it every time. Yeah, and again, I'm not going to go through this, but please like familiarize yourself with it. We have a highlighted version that I think is the version that Danya sent to you, but we'll use the updated version and highlight it and send it to you guys anyways. Don't just read the highlighted versions, but those are things that sometimes if things are moving quickly, you might need to refer to. It also has the roles of each e-board member clearly written out here. So, and I hope this never happens. I don't think it will. If there's ever a point where you feel like you need to check another member, just make sure you're referring to the Constitution and you're not like just saying things. And then also use this for your own power too. Amendments to that's amendments to the Constitution. We'll do amendments to resolutions later. Impeachment. Should we go over? Impeachment, again, if anything, if you guys see like or like start to experience corruption of any level, after meetings and stuff, just again, be sure to refer to the Constitution. If there's ever an issue, of course, again, talk to me, but use this as your rubric, like talk to me, just make sure like you're also referring to the rubric before you like ask a professor, but I don't want that to like deter you from asking questions. But yeah, so if there's ever an issue, sometimes articles of impeachment might be needed in rare circumstances, same as like politics in the real world, like hopefully we never have to get to impeachment or anything, but just know that it's here. Is it in my email though? It's in my email? Oh, okay, cool, great. I hope you guys didn't see. This is just the resolution? Okay. Okay, so this is the updated one. What's here that this is the bylaws and the Constitution's later. Okay, highlights, wait. Did I pass it? No. Constitution. Okay, so this is the updated one. I don't see, so you guys updated like elections and oath. This is what's highlighted is updated, or this is just highlighted?
You're talking about there's a part of the teaching committee and everything.
At the very top.
All right, there we go. So if you guys read any of that impeachment stuff, just read this one instead. And also, again, like as I think John or one of you guys over here said it, we'll send you guys the updated version. Okay, and with that, we'll move to bylaws, and I'll just use this same document. Bylaws is kind of like a more structured version of how USG works. Use this the same way that you use the Constitution. Please refer to it often, get to know it, read it. It'll help you. It'll help you in your role here. You'll know what you're doing more. I think a lot of people are really nervous, and I think we all are, including eBoard. So I promise, like, reading the bylaws and reading the Constitution will just help you understand everything that's going on. Not just in our meetings, but like, again, everything that's going on. Yeah, I don't want to like read all of this because it's just like super tedious. And also I don't know like how to pick and choose. Like there's not so much, but there is a lot of, I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point. I kind of wanted you guys to just like go through this and read it as we're going through. Vacancies, we'll have another election, or not election, more applications in the spring. So that's when you guys will probably be using like vacancies and oaths again. But that's kind of past. But again, our roles are here for all of the eBoard. Even the committee chairs. Pretty sure reps are here too. Oh, graphic designer and website administrator was added. So that is an update. Speaker of the House, secretary, and then House of Representatives, your guys' role is here too. Stipends, everything that we do, there's a rule to it. There's a reason. It's in the bylaws. If it's not written in the bylaws, then we kind of have agency to do it as we please. But yes, that's pretty much it. Again, we'll send you a highlighted version. Read it. If you have any questions going forward, please ask any one of us. But yeah. Next, we'll go on to Robert's Rules, and I have a cute little video for you guys. How do I present? I guess I don't need that. So I hope it.
So let's say you have to read an incredibly long email
This is
from
not
your
the
boss that you have to finish before the big.
At the SFSS, we rely on
Wait,
Robert's Rules of Order.
it's not supposed to look
ensure
like.
that all meetings run effectively.
Wait. What? Oh,
No,
maybe.
it shouldn't be because of that.
At the SFSS, we rely.
It's so weird. Here, one second for a second just to figure it out. It's fun.
At the SFSS, we rely on Robert's Rules of Order
Might
to
be
ensure
the
that all
video.
meetings run effectively.
Was it like that before?
This video will go through the basics of Robert's Rules, organized
Oh,
in
okay,
an
there.
agenda. This
Oh,
video
nice.
will go through the
I think it's the
basics
beginning of the
Robert's
video.
Rules and how they work to make meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we'll just say it.
We'll
like
play
that.
it from there. Oh, yeah.
And then we're gonna share sound too, because we didn't
Okay.
do that earlier.
SFSS, we rely on Robert's Rules of Order to ensure that all meetings run effectively. This video will go through the basics of Robert's Rules and how they work to make meetings more efficient. To keep meetings on track, all orders of business are organized in an agenda that lists the various items we'll vote on the adoption discussed. At the beginning of our meetings,
Okay, we'll
members
try
will
for
vote
2
on the
more
adoption
minutes and then I'll just explain it if not.
But- Okay.
At the SFSS, we rely on Robert's Rules of Order to ensure that all meetings run effectively.
Maybe
This video
Okay.
will go through the basics of RS. We rely on Robert's Rules of Order to ensure that all meetings run effectively. This video will go through the basics of Robert's Rules and how they work to make meetings more efficient. To keep meetings on track, all orders of business are organized in an agenda that lists the various items that will be discussed. At the beginning of our meetings, members will vote on the adoption of this agenda. Only after the agenda is adopted can the meeting proceed. At the core of Robert's Rules is the creation of motions, which are formal proposals for an organization's membership to take a stance or take action on a certain issue. To make a motion, you must first obtain the floor. To do so, you must wait for the chairperson to call on you after the last speaker has spoken. When making a motion, ensure that it is clear, concise, and stated in the affirmative. This is not the time to elaborate on your motion or try to motivate for it. You will get the opportunity to justify your motion during the discussion period. However, before discussion can begin, another individual must second your motion. Otherwise, it is lost. Note, you don't have to be in support of a motion in order to second it. Seconding simply means that you would like to see further debate and discussion happen. If your motion has been moved and seconded, it is placed before members for consideration and debate. The mover is always allowed to speak first and is given the opportunity to justify their motion. During discussion, only one speaker may speak at a time. At any point during the discussion, an individual can move to amend or modify a motion, saying, "I move to amend the motion," followed by the changes they wish to make. After all discussion and amendments have taken place, members will vote by a show of hands whether or not they support the motion. If the majority of members vote yes, then the motion passes.
Okay, so what's a little complicated about this is that we don't use, we do use motions, not in the same way that the video was talking about. And I'm gonna send this to you guys because it's a great video that gives like a quick little, synopsis. But we focus on like what's in the agenda often, as you guys have seen in the meeting so far. Of course, you can motion to add something to the agenda. You will, as this video stated, you'll need a second, then we vote on it, majority vote approves it, then it's added to the agenda. You'll make motions like that. It was kind of referring to like parliamentary procedure where it's like you'll literally motion to, they'll propose motions the same way that like we use resolutions kind of. So yeah, so I just wanted to like clarify that. But in terms of like when, and we'll get into this when we actually practice the resolutions and stuff. But if you want to like make a motion to amend something on the resolution, it was saying you have to have it like, you have to state your amendment very clear and state it in the affirmative, something like that. But that just basically meant like you have to have a very clear like wording of what you wanted to change. So like, say for example, you wanted to change like something in your resolution, you have to tell me word for word what the change is, not only because I'm going to change it, but that's so that everyone has an understanding of what the change is. Another time we'll use motions is like to amend, I motion to adjourn the meeting to like end the meeting basically. And then I don't know if you guys can see, hold on, file, present. Oh my God, present. This one? Oh, on the right. Share, present. Okay. Sorry, Mohammed. Okay. Can you see that? Okay. So these are kind of just like, this is a cheat sheet that we use to like the lingo of Robert's Rules, when we would use it, what has to be done when you use it. Where it says second needed, it means that you literally say I second, but that's like you support it. As the video stated, you don't actually, depending on what it is, you don't literally need to support it. Sometimes it's just like you want to hear more of what what the person is saying. But in things like a recess or something, like you typically, like you would actually support that. And then interrupt speaker. So that basically means like no one can like interrupt what this person is saying until they've finished their statement. So like anytime Anshu wants an executive order, nobody can interrupt him until he's done saying that. Sounds kind of intense, but typically you shouldn't interrupt anyone when they're speaking anyways. So it's not as complicated as it seems. And then some other things that I'm going to point out that like aren't as self-explanatory are like, okay, object to procedure or personal affront. That basically means that like you want, like things aren't going in order and you want to like, you want things to like go back, like you want us to like recalibrate basically. I hope that like makes sense. I'm trying to like translate this into like something that you guys understand. So it's not just like you're saying these things without knowing what they mean. Yeah, a lot of these we also don't use as frequently. Of course, we'll like use adjourn. We'll use introduce business pretty frequently. We'll table something pretty frequently, and so okay, so if we table something but like someone wants to actually talk about it, you can say take up, it's like, I hope it's like in the second column, the bottom one, take up matter previously tabled. So it's like, no, I don't actually want to talk about that next week. Let's continue talking about that, or like bring it back to the conversation or something. Consider something out of its scheduled order. I move we suspend the rules and consider. So that's what you'll say. Oh my God, sorry. I hope I'm not like jumbling, but like consider something out of its order. Say like we had, I think like a couple weeks ago, I wanted to talk about the printer before we like had the interview of applicants. So that's when you say, I suspend the rules and consider, or like I motion that we discuss something now, or I motion that we use something out of the agenda, something like that, like depending on what it is you'll say. And then again, so the next section where it's like interrupt speaker, second needed. Those are times when you can interrupt someone, or if you need support in order for people to vote on it. Debatable, it's like if we can actually have a conversation about this, if the body can have a conversation about this. Amendable, if changes can be made to what was proposed. And then vote needed, it depends like the type of vote. So sometimes it's 2/3 votes and sometimes it's majority vote, which is 51%. Are there any questions? Was it clear? No? Anything anyone would like to add?
Yeah, I'd like to add that another like common motion that people do is when we're talking too long or debating something way too long, like you can motion to end discussion or motion to end discussion in like 3 minutes, and that can be voted on. So just if someone feels like we're talking about a specific topic for too long, you can motion to like stop the discussion.
Mm-hmm. And also I have discretion to time anything according to, it technically says like according to whatever the chair sees fit for the body. So according to whatever I think is like best for everyone in the meeting. And then you can also do what Anshu was talking about for guest speakers. I'll time it typically, especially if it's a longer agenda, depending on what the guest speaker is coming for. I'll usually time it. Sometimes if it's like a really good conversation where people do have like a lot of genuine questions, we'll have to motion to like add time to it. Yeah. Anything else? All right. And then Danya sent this cheat sheet to you. So, you know, during meetings, if you have it up or something. Yes. What's your name? Alexandra. Okay.
sometimes my balance might not come out during the size of my action. Like what if the meeting ends and I have this other idea that's not constructive to bring up? Like, is there a time?
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes like you can just bring it up in the group chat if you want. But if you wanted to like bring something up super formally in like a meeting, depending on if it's going to require discussion, you can bring it up in announcements. Announcements in our agenda is a time where like anyone can say anything. Oftentimes people are parts of other organizations and they'll like announce a different meeting or like an event that week that they're inviting people to. So that might not be a time where you like bring up a discussion or like an idea that you had based on our discussion from the last meeting. Sometimes if it's like based on a resolution that we had or something, resolutions are typically proposed one meeting as new business, and then the next meeting they're old business. So when it's old business, we'll vote on them. If it's new business, we'll only vote on them if there's an executive order. If your concern or comment or question was regarding a resolution, typically you can bring it up at the next meeting when we talk about that resolution as old business. If it was old business and it was already voted on, you can of course talk about it to whoever proposed it, but nothing can be done if it's already been voted on. If it's like a change, there are tons of ifs, so I'm sorry if this is like an extended answer. If it's like a change to a resolution you wanted to make, that would be an amendment, and you would have to make it before it's voted on. So you would have the meeting, it's proposed as new resolution. And then that week before our next meeting where it's old business and it'll be voted on unless you propose to table it for there to be more time to make a resolution or to make an amendment. And typically that's doing that without like consultation with the person that is trying to pass the resolution can sometimes be just like a little, I would just not recommend doing that before you actually consult the person that's doing the resolution. If it's based on an item for discussion that we're doing, you can just like, this would vary, you know, like if it's based on like an item for discussion that we had, say it was about the printer or something, I would say talk to Mohammed about it outside of class, that type of, or outside of our meetings. Is there a specific scenario that you had? So I want to make sure I'm like actually answering your question. It's a great question. There are tons of various ifs and whens. Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime anyone has a question, this is Mike, sorry, so we can hear you.
Do you see the mic in front of you? Just start talking, yeah. So I'll just say your question, the second one, did you hear the first one?
No, so, well, I heard it, but it's just that people aren't.
Okay.
The first question, and the second question, it wasn't perfect.
Okay.
That mic was on, so that wasn't on.
Okay.
So it's confusing.
Yeah. First question was, what if you have a thought after the meeting and like, what do you do then? When would you bring that thought up or comment or question up again? And so I was just kind of running through the various scenarios of like when a certain idea or thought could be brought up based on what triggered the thought, if that makes sense. And then the second question was the typical time frame of a resolution from like when it's created or just voting.
Terminology, but like for a certain situation, if we haven't voted on it yet, so like is it like maybe a week or 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Usually the time frame for that.
Yeah, so typically something like that it was brought up as an item for discussion to see like if something like that is needed for the body. I think now they're like still thinking about it, contemplating the needs, gauging the various like, prices and pros and cons of something like that. It's not urgent, so we don't really need it. But if it was, they could make a resolution for it in a day, have it by the next meeting. We'll vote on it. It'll be new business. And after, so when it's new business in the first meeting, then the next meeting, that next week, it'll be old business. And when something is old business, we vote on it unless it's tabled. If that was clear. So something like that, once a resolution is proposed for the first time, it'll be new business. Again, the next week, it'll be old business and we vote on it. If it's super urgent or something, it can be an executive order, which means it'll be proposed at that meeting and voted on right away. If it needs more time to just like have some changes, etc., it can take as long as the people proposing the resolution need to make those amendments until it's like brought back to the table. Yeah, I hope that made sense. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything anyone?
Hello.
Oh, Hello? Wait, who was that? Oh, Matthew? Where are you? Are you on? Oh, Matthew? Hello, do you want to introduce yourself, Matthew? Hello, Matthew?
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry.
No, you're good. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. Do you want to present your slides?
Oh, I thought you guys moved past this.
Well, we did, but we.
Oh, okay. You're just letting me. Okay. Putting me
Do
on
you
the
want
spot.
to? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending the Leadership Summit. So, as you guys know, I'm the chair of the Student Success Committee, which prioritizes, 3 things, which is to ensure that UIC students are achieving, academic excellence and gaining the skills necessary for their career, to ensure UIC promotes an affordable, accessible, and inclusive education for all students, and also advocating for other higher education issues. One at the top of my head could be like, Pell Grants. But the Student Success Committee works with the colleges and their departments, like the career department. We work with the library. We work with other important academic decision makers, and we also work with obviously the students first and foremost, and the organizations that our students run. And I have a next slide. And the projects we have are I list off as tiers. Like the biggest goal that we have are, getting something started for 0-cost degree programs, which are major/degrees that you can, achieve in your 4 years without paying a single, dollar for any classroom materials, not just textbooks. And another alternative that I've briefly mentioned when talking with the director of OER here at UIC is OER material on the gen ed level, because as you know, at least for chemistry, I believe the books can be like $80, so getting that to $0 would be beneficial for students. The second thing is hosting roundtables and planning events with career centers and student organizations. And the final thing is to centralize all career development, job opportunities and internship opportunities on the USG website. And that will be accomplished once we revamp the USG website. And are we doing questions or no?
Do you guys have questions? Nobody has questions.
Okay, thank you.
Matthew, are you gonna come for the games?
Yeah, I'm at home, but I can participate if.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So thank you, Matthew. All right. So so now we're going to move into the resolutions and we'll end this section with like a little game. So please just pay attention. Oh, wait, no, not there. Oh, sorry guys, I have to go to my email for this too. In the document that Danya sent you this morning, in one of the documents, she sent a resolution resolution template. Oh, no, she didn't. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, everyone. Hold on, give me a second. What? Yeah, but then I have to log into Box here on this thing. I don't think so. 1 second, 1 second. Yeah. But you guys feel free to pull it up. Oh, just kidding. She didn't say, just kidding. Just kidding. All right, okay, so this is our guide to creating a resolution. You guys have seen the resolutions in our meeting so far. This is kind of like just a how-to code on it. E-board members, you need this too, because I'm changing half of your resolutions that you send just so that they are correct. But so the resolution will have the year. I wish I had it side by side, but the resolution will have the year and the F5. This is a good thing to know for all of our meetings going forward. Our meetings are coded by spring and fall, F or S, and the number that the number meeting. So like our meeting last week was F6. Our meeting this week will be F7. It's the fall semester and it's the 7th meeting of the semester. And then 2021 will be in front of it. So typically like for a meeting, all you have to say is like F6 2021, and you know it's the 6th meeting of the fall semester in 2021. And then this last little section here, where it says like 901 represents who is like the chief sponsor of the resolution. These are the codes for each of it. So like Anshu's resolution, if he did one for the next meeting, will be 2021 F7 1100. And if he made 3 resolutions, it would be 2021 F7 1101, 2021 F7 1102, 2021 F7 1103. Yeah, and then the list goes down for each one. Representatives, you will use 100. I can change it as you guys send it to me in case like several representatives send it to me, and you know, I'll just make sure no one has the same code. But yeah, that is kind of the only situation where like it might get a little complicated. If like several representatives send me a resolution and you guys like didn't know, you know, but like everyone else has their own code. 900 is for speaker, 800 treasurer, things like that. And then this is the example or the template for resolution. It's on Box, which I'll add you guys all tonight to it. But this is where, again, you'll put the year, F, whatever meeting number, and then the code for whatever your role is, resolution name for the initiative or whatever you're doing, the month, day, year. It's all pretty self-explanatory here. And then current president's name. So you'll have Anshu's name and then my name. And then here is an example of it actually written out. So with that being said, I'll email this to all of you, right? No, I'll have it up. I'll just have it up. But okay, I'm going to count you off into groups. We're going to play a little game. and the winning team gets a prize. So I'll count you off into 4. Old members, if you are in a group, please don't take charge. Let other members like figure this out. Yeah, I'll count you off. No, I'll explain so you guys don't forget your numbers. But you guys are going to, I'm going to give you some prompts for a problem that's like that UIC is experiencing, and you're going to have to create a resolution based on that problem. However you think will help improve UIC. It can be through funding, it can be through an initiative, it can be through an event, anything. Just keep in mind, we don't have fundraisers, but we can provide funding. Just not to fundraisers. Like if an org is like trying to raise money, we can't give them money like that, but we can like give money for like a blood drive that they're doing or something. So just keep that in mind. You'll pull up a resolution template, the resolution template that Danya did send. And then you'll designate someone on your team to write it out as you all like work together to like figure out wording and like what this initiative is about. And then, so then I'll want you guys, or before that, I want you guys to designate, you guys can either choose like yourselves or like someone can designate it for you, your role in USG. So you can take on the role as like president, you can take on the role as chief of staff, you can take on the role as a certain committee member. But just make sure your group has one representative. If you're an old member on USG, I encourage you to be the representative so that other people can like figure out the coding and stuff. This is literally just so you can do the coding correctly. It's not because you're going to act like you're a president or whatever. It's just for coding purposes. You're going to figure out who's going to be chief sponsor or co-sponsor. There does not need to be a co-sponsor, but there needs to be a chief sponsor. Everyone can be chief sponsor, but there needs to be at least one chief sponsor. There can be no co-sponsors. You'll do the identification code. You'll pick a certain day. Make sure it's like a realistic meeting. So like it's not going to be like F40 or anything. And then you'll write out the resolution based on like what your group thought of. And then you'll present to the body, which will be everyone else, based on who your chief sponsor is. If you have multiple chief sponsors, you'll have them present, like whoever is the chief sponsor typically presents the resolution. So just keep that in mind. And then everyone will vote on the resolution. We're going to do a blind vote, which is not how we vote in USG. So just don't get confused. We're doing this for the sake of a game. So I can actually, we can see like who wins justly. And the team with the most eyes wins. Okay. So I will count you off so that you guys can get to know each other. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1. Wait, what were you? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, cool. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Figure out your teams. Oh, Zoom people. You're all on Zoom. You're all going to be one group, okay? Or how many of there are you? 9? Yeah, you guys can be one group. Are we good? Zoom? No one. Hello, Zoom?
Oh, they can't hear you.
Oh, what?
Oh, no, they should be able to hear you.
Zoom?
Huh. Are they muted?
Yes. Can you hear us? Yes, we can hear you.
You guys hear anything?
Yes. Yeah, we do.
Okay, so you guys are one team, okay? Thank you.
Are we supposed to start?
Yeah, you guys can just start, figure out, okay, I'm gonna present your, problems, okay? Everyone please pay attention because I'm about to present the, issue and skip. All right. So. Okay, so group one, your prompt. Because of an overgrowth of broccoli in California, UIC has been gifted hundreds of thousands of pounds of broccoli. Because of this, there is no other meal option for dorming students for the next several weeks. Students are upset and have asked USG to help. Got it? Okay, group two. With global warming, Chicago has experienced record-breaking rain. UIC is now flooded and students still need to get to class. They are coming to USG to think of